Hello, Cody. How's it going?
Hey, good. Are you?
I'm all right. All right. So this time I figured I would share my screen first because yesterday I was kind of working on a little side project here. I wanted to see how far I could go building an app with just AI. So with minimal manual intervention.
Okay.
And so far, this is what I got. So I got this little app here. Um, Basically, it's kind of nice. You can search for a business, and then you can enter information about the business tip practices. So whether or not they accept tips, whether they charge a mandatory service charge or whatever, and also if you asked the question to the staff or whatever, if you have an idea where the tip goes. Because apparently in some provinces it's blurry, but in most provinces it's kind of illegal for the owner of the shop to get the tips. It's supposed to go to the front of house staff,
I
but it's
mean, I
not
would hope
always
it
the
goes to the
case.
staff.
It's not always the case apparently. So I figured it would be nice to have like a little app to report on that. And also, I started getting a little pissed off from some businesses started charging tips when they shouldn't. Like sometimes you go to buy like groceries or whatever, and then they charge you a tip, and there's like zero service. But the thing, I think it's because of
When you say
Square.
they charge you a tip, it's like automatic, or they just
It's
offer
not
it.
automatic. They offer, so you can still deny it. But I noticed that more and more businesses that have no business being in tips uh,
Yeah,
actually
are
like
doing it.
suggest you a tip, right? Like even Starbucks now does it, which is like, what the fuck? Like you already paid to make coffee. Like what is my tip for? Uh, so like
Come
yeah,
on, it's so they can pay them less. There's 2 minimum wages here in BC. Okay.
yeah, but it doesn't. It's not normal. I feel like people should be paid a minimum wage or at least living wage and
And
not
not have to
rely on
rely on
tips.
tips. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm from a country where tips don't exist. You leave a tip when really the service is outstanding.
Okay.
And it's sometimes they even refuse it because they cannot take it. So yeah,
Oh wow.
it's not a
Okay.
common occurrence in Europe. Um, but here I understand it. You go to a restaurant or whatever. Like even the barber, I don't mind. There's a service that's being delivered, so it's okay.
Yep.
But like I don't know. Like in the summer, I volunteer, for example, at a theater here in Vancouver. And when you go to the like shop to get a hot dog, they suggest a tip, and you're like, dude, you're just putting a sausage in a bun. Like, so it's a little strange. But anyway, there's a lot of businesses like this, and I believe it's related to the businesses that started using Square, like the payment system, and
Okay.
Square allows you to very easily request for a tip. And so I think a lot of people just don't disable the option, and then because when you go there, you feel guilty for not leaving it, then most people started leaving a tip.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that. Um, so yeah, I wanted to do something. So anyway, there's like a little map. You can kind of search for the businesses and stuff. You can kind of like filter businesses. Um, the map is kind of wonky so far as I can tell. Like you search for the business, it doesn't really accept you. So that's one thing that the AI couldn't really do well, I guess. You see,
Okay.
it always tries to center you somewhere else, which is pretty weird. But otherwise, it was able to create that list properly. It was able to create those like little tooltips. I was able to have this page showing up, so I still have my debug info here.
Yep.
But basically, I just picked a country. The reason for picking the country is just for me to avoid like searching on the entire Earth when you type a business.
Yep.
And so you can type your
And
business. So
and
let's
what
do
are
a
you
custom.
using to fetch the business?
So I use Mapbox.
Mapbox.
Yeah, it's pretty
Okay.
nice. They actually do the map. You can do some point of interest search. You can do geocoding. You can do a bunch of things. So it's pretty nice. The API is really cool to use. I did notice they had an issue on their API. When you search for a point of interest in Canada, it doesn't necessarily return the province. So I have to make an
Oh,
extra API call to geocode the address that I get for the business to be able to get the region.
okay.
Whereas if you search a point of interest in the US, it returns the state by default. And so I created an issue on their Discord because this is probably a mistake.
Sure.
But anyway, so you search for your business, you show a little map, you confirm this is the business you want to enter the thing, and then you can pick up like which practice it is, you know. So no tipping, tip requested, mandatory service charge. So you just pick one. Then you can specify whether or not you know if the tip is going to front of house stuff. And then if you want, you don't have to, but if you want, you can kind of like enter the suggested tip. So if the business asks you, you
Yeah.
know, has suggestions, you can enter what those percentages are.
Yeah. And
Um,
these days are always 18. They never give you that 15
you know,
anymore.
so you do this, and then you can add like a little detail if you want. You submit your report, and then you're good to go. So now there's like an extra report that has been added,
Okay.
and then you can just go in there and kind of see the page. So if you go to the page, you can see like both reports.
Yep.
And what it's doing is it's kind of trying to aggregate this somehow, right? So I created a view in Superbase that's kind of trying to aggregate this data. So it's going to use the most common used value for each one of those fields and then
Okay.
place it here as the main. So if we have like 30
Oh.
reports and like 25 of them say that they request a tip, then it's going to be tip requested, you know, and
Right.
things like that.
I was gonna ask you that is like what happens if people were just trolling on a business because they wanted to cancel it? How do you determine that it's actually true?
Well, to report a business, you got to log in. So I do have like some control on what the users are doing. I could ban them if I see some abuse, you know,
Yeah, fair. I
an
guess you can
option.
also ask AI to add a flag. People can flag it and say this is incorrect or something.
There might be a thing like this, but yeah, I don't really know like what I want to do yet. You know, I was
Yeah,
just kind of
this is
trying.
pretty cool though for no code. All AI. Well, I guess
Yeah,
it's not no code. You coded, but it's just all AI.
and you can kind of like search for a city, you know, and see the city.
Oh, it
So
even
it's
does it even show businesses when you zoom in?
let's just go go to California. Whoop. Now, if you zoom in, you can see the businesses. You can see like everything. Yeah.
Can you actually click one right now? And does it actually do anything? No.
No, I don't have this option. Yeah, you can only click on them if I have the info about them.
Okay. Okay.
You know, but like for example, like if I do Nakama Sushi, so I can go like report a business. I'm gonna go into United States. Nakama Sushi Restaurant and Lounge, San Francisco. So that's the first option here. Yes, this is the one. Selected practices. Tip requested. Blah blah blah. Up, I can do this. So I added my little report here. Now if I go
Nice.
back, I didn't know like how to tell the AI that I always wanted to stay here if I specified the location, but whatever. Might need to
Right.
refresh as
Yeah.
well.
You might have to put
But
it
yeah,
in the bar. Your search param. Just put it inside of the your URL there.
no, there's another issue here that the AI couldn't figure out is that you know I have the location here,
Yep.
but it's not picking it up for the search.
How did it try it? Because I assume you're using Next.js. Did it
Yes.
use the
So in terms of code, this is what
and
it kind
is
of
it
produced.
server side or how are they grabbing
Um,
it? And this is
so
Next 15.
it's next 15. So I started the experiment with bolt.new, which is a service from StackBlitz.
Yep.
So it's called bolt.new. And you can go in there, you can basically type like, I want an app with
Prompt run
whatever.
edit and deploy. Wow. Okay.
And it just like builds an app. So I did that for a couple of like runs, you know.
Build a mobile app with native script.
And then at
Cool.
some point, I saw that it was like struggling a little bit with Superbase and whatever, and I didn't want to put Superbase API keys directly in this tool, so I downloaded the code and then I went along with Cursor instead to continue coding. So I did the boilerplate with this.
Yep.
Then I downloaded it, opened it in Cursor, and then I realized that it was Next 13 for some reason, so I upgraded everything to Next 15 manually. And
Okay.
then as soon as it was
And let
ready,
and let's see the params. Let's see
I
how they're
only used the
handling them.
composer. Right.
That's cool. Yeah, that's
Um,
neat.
so for this home page, you have the page here, right? It's kind of like getting the params here, but it's not passing it here. Yeah,
Yes, but
it does have this
you are supposed to await those params now, right? Next 15. That's the problem.
in here.
No, in line 13, it should just be await search params. Yeah. But then it has parse float. So you might have to do const params equals await search params and then do this logic.
Well, I'll just call it query. Fuck it. All right. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you want to await such params?
Yeah, what's it complaining about?
It's trying to do this, but I don't want to do this. But it doesn't seem
It's
to.
still complaining. Cannot redeclare block scope variable query.
Yeah, I probably have one already.
Oh, you do. Line 18.
Yep. Let's just do SP. It's going to be great.
You can do Command D, by the way, to highlight everything that's the same.
No, Command D is duplicate for me.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, because I still have the key mapping for JetBrains because I transitioned from JetBrains recently, so I'm still not.
Well, in your case, it's not SP, right? It would get rid of the curlies. It'd be const SP equals await.
Yes, my bad.
But it's still complaining that the weight shouldn't be there. I don't think that's correct. Try it though. Let's see. Has no effect. No, it definitely should have an effect now. Because they made cookies, params.
Params, but not search params.
Oh, maybe they didn't do search params. You know what? That's a good question. Let me check.
Well, let me see if I can actually grab them.
Search
Right?
params.
If I go here, I go back to iceberg.
So it says params should be awaited, but what about search params?
Well, yeah, it is a promise actually. So
It is a promise? Okay.
it looks like it, but I think it's because of this type here.
Yeah, you might have to tell it that it's a. There you go.
Yeah.
You also have it from your types. That could be it. The reason. There you go.
There you go. So we do have the proper thing.
There you go.
Yeah, but now it's trying to do that, and it still doesn't like.
So what do you have? If lat and long query equals query dot filter const data.
Maybe this is wrong. So let me check what we have in here. So this is like my business stat. It's called latitude and longitude. That's why it's wrong. Latitude, longitude. Okay. So now let's try this. There you go. Haha, Nakawa sushi.
There you go.
So there you go. Now we have a sushi.
I still think you should have had AI fix that for you, but
yeah, I noticed a few things actually about this. So the boilerplate was fine on bold.new, but like I said, I kind of reached like a point where it was doing some random shit and I didn't like it, so I just downloaded the code. Continue with cursor. Very quickly, I had to create the cursor rules, which I can show you at some point. Because the composer in the beginning was okay, but then as soon as you get into like, hey, just build like Superbase auth or whatever, it just gets confused as hell. So
it needs to know some things.
Yeah, so
I gotta say, man, those cursor rules are really cool. Being able to specify those at a project level.
It is pretty nice, yeah. So I started adding a bunch of rules and stuff. It's still, there's a lot of people that say, yeah, you can build an app if you have AI or whatever. I still don't think that's the truth, because a lot of the times you do have to read whatever the fuck the AI is coming up with, and you kind of have to verify that it's correct at least.
Yeah. You still need to know what's happening in order for AI to build it for you. I don't get me wrong. You can build it, like you built an app, you built it with AI. But if you were trying to do this as somebody who does not program,
Exactly.
it would be a lot harder for you.
It would be for sure.
But I don't deny we're probably going to get there. We're probably
What
going to get to the point where people can just write out a prompt and it can spit out very, very. I wouldn't say like super complex applications. Like that would take some time. But if you got
well
a smaller,
with
maybe potentially
bold.new,
maybe.
you could probably get away with it if it's a very simple website or whatever. You could totally do that.
Yeah.
Even a small app like this one, I'm sure it would have gone there. It's just because like I guess I was biased as a developer already. So when I saw that it was using Next 13 and it couldn't like upgrade properly or whatever, I was like, okay, like, let me use a code mod on this thing, and you know.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess it's the bias as being already a developer. But one advantage I noticed about using AI that I think is kind of cool is that it pushed me to be even more thorough in my commits. So my commits became like really focused
Right.
because every time I applied something with cursor, as soon as I verified that everything was working correctly for the feature I asked it to build, then I was committing because I didn't want to lose it, trying the other feature and applying something that didn't work, and then trying to figure out the diff, right? So,
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay,
so
so
that
it
was
made
kind
you
of cool.
commit more. That's good.
Yes, it made me commit more and be more focused on the commit. Um, I noticed some issues with Tailwind. Like at some point, it wanted me to it created a tailwind.config.js, but I already had a tailwind.config.ts, and I don't know
Okay.
why. But as soon as I added that into cursor rules and say like, hey, I already have a tailwind config.ts, then it
Yep.
started like fixing itself.
Okay.
And then the other problem I had is it kept trying to set up Supabase using their Next.js React utilities or whatever, and
Yep.
I wanted to use Supabase SSR, and it just refused to do it. Um, so anything that touched Supabase SSR, I had to kind of use manually because it just refused to do it. And
Right.
even when I updated the cursor rules and said use Supabase SSR, it just doesn't want it. It didn't want to do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
Okay.
know
Hmm.
how to do it. You do have to update the cursor rules like once in a while, you know, as your project grows, just to add more and
Makes
more
sense.
specificity.
Yeah.
Um, but
And
so
as
far,
you
this
add libraries and stuff like that, you'll probably want it to do certain things with that library, etc. So,
pretty much. But so far, this is what it looks like. Like it's super basic.
well, you just did a nice basic one. Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't ask Cursor to fix it?
No, I could have, I guess, but yeah. Um, I did have to mention like this
When asked to generate code that interacts with Supabase, use the Supabase client that's already imported in
because
the
it kept
project
creating a
directory.
new
Follow
Supabase
the
client
scheme
every
defined
time.
base. Ah,
And I was like, what the fuck? So maybe I should specify like where the clients are and say like this is my client for the
yeah.
client and this is my client for the server.
I
Um,
typically, you know what's funny? I typically don't have to. I'll usually, I guess I just add it to my prompt though. I'll usually say like, create me an API endpoint or route handler. Please use the Supabase server client, and it kind of just knows. It's very interesting.
yeah, but it's because like usually when you use it, you kind of ask something that you already know what you exactly want. You're just asking it very specifically. Here, I was
Yeah,
on purpose giving the composer a description of the feature,
yeah, that
and I
makes sense.
expected it to create multiple files. And one other thing I
Yeah,
noticed it wasn't able to do is so it created this hook folder and it created this Mapbox search, and
yeah,
so it has this search business thing here. And what I wanted to do is like continue to use this use Mapbox search thing to create other functions if I need to call the API for any other reason. But I noticed that if I do that, sometimes it's going to change this method, even though it shouldn't. It's going to change the search business method and then break some other
right.
feature on the other side.
Huh.
So it's not really able to tell like, oh, this function is already used somewhere, so don't modify it too much because otherwise you're going to fuck up this piece over there.
Yeah. And it also
So
created its own use debounce hook. Hey, wow,
yeah, it created its
that's
used the
cool. Let's see it.
debounce. There's also this used businesses for some reason, but I don't really know where that comes from. Uh, so I don't know. The
Okay.
debounce is pretty basic. It's like a set timeout.
Oh yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
The geolocation is kind of cool because initially it wasn't detecting where I was. So when I loaded the website without any query params, it didn't know where I was. But now it's able to place me in Vancouver.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, so I'm calling like the server location stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so
And
yeah,
now showing the world where you live. Perfect.
well, I live in Vancouver. It's okay. Uh, but yeah, so it has this little like geolocation. It's calling this like free API here to get geolocation from the IP and kind of
Okay.
like figure it out.
I'm surprised that they wouldn't. I guess. Yeah, doesn't Next.js have that built in? I'm surprised they wouldn't have used it.
Yeah, they don't want to. I also had troubles with Arc because it refused to show me the notification like, oh, this application wants your location. So you see when I click use my location, it's just not doing anything.
Oh,
But if I use it in Chrome or Safari or whatever, it works.
okay. Did you
And now
report
my
that?
sidebar is kind of like fucked. And you see, location request timeout. So it just refuses to request this. I don't know why.
Hmm.
And I checked the settings and stuff, like localhost is not excluded and whatever. Like it's not a config problem. And Chrome works no problem. So I don't know why. It's pretty weird. But anyway, this is as far as I got with just AI so far. So it's pretty good.
That is pretty good. It's awesome.
So yeah,
Mm.
I got a little domain name for it, iceberg.tips, because I figured like it's the tip of the iceberg, you know.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, as soon as it's kind of in a okay shape, I can deploy that. We'll see how it goes. You know, just
Yeah.
for funsies.
That's cool.
So yeah, that's what I've been working on. So if we want to work on if we want to work on Datekit, how are we doing that? Do you want to share your screen?
Oh, I mean, I could. Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
All right. So let me switch a little bit, do a little switcheroo of screens here. Up. I'm going to go back onto the screen share thing. I am definitely not presenting the right one. What the fuck? So my scene is wrong. My bad. Oh no, it is your screen. Is it your screen right now? Oh no, it's because I'm sharing my screen on Twitch. My bad. Never mind. Okay. Can you
I don't
share?
even remember where we ended.
Can you share your
I should be sharing my screen, actually. Yep, it is currently
on the
shared.
Twitch?
Oh, on Twitch. My bad. Forgot about that. All right. There you go.
All right, we're rolling.
All
Okay.
right. Yeah, so where did we end? I think we ended in the playground trying to get the date to show. We had some fake data, something about showing them in July. I think if we go back to like July and we switch into day view, we were trying to get some data. It was like July 15th or something. Oh, can't click that. That's right. I got to go here. Yeah. All right. So we don't have any data. But if we go into our console, that is not our console, we should be seeing. We do have empty events. Okay. Yes. Okay. It's starting to come back now. So we were working on the ability to pass in those sources where we would end up fetching the data based on them. So that was
Yep.
inside of core I think we added in calendar. We kind of created this whole set period. Okay, all right, yeah, it's coming back. All right, so this was the piece that we added, the get events. So what's the deal here? I think if I remember correctly, we could reload this and it did give us events when we went back. There, that's events 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so then if we go back, still 0, back, still 0, back, still 0. Okay, so nothing's happening. I guess the question though is,
There's one where you have one.
there was?
Yeah.
Oh, right
Constructor is
there.
an option. Yeah.
Okay, birthday party. This was
October.
Tuesday, October 1st. Wait, but selected was Monday, December 2nd.
That's a pretty long birthday party. Or yeah, no, I guess no. It's selected December 2nd.
So the period, hold on here. The period was October to was October, but the selected, but the event.
Could it be a static event?
Oh no, hold
Any
on.
chance?
This is October. This is correct. Okay. So that's October. So if we let's kill this. Let's go back to October.
Huh.
There it is. But then
Yeah,
we
but then
lose it. For refreshed
yeah.
state, it's gone.
So that's the issue. You see how many times we have the refresh state? It refreshes 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
So we might have an issue with like too many renders.
So what's the
Maybe we
deal
can use
here?
this tool. There's a tool that I heard of recently, React Scan. Have you heard of it?
I have not heard of that one.
It's pretty
Okay, hold
cool.
on here. Look at this. So the first refresh state was for December 1st. And then the second one, which wasn't actually a refresh state, was October. And then it was refreshed December. And then it was October. What the heck?
No, you see, the selected is always December 2nd. So it's not updating the selected date for some reason. Or no, but wait, the selected is just today. Like if you open selected on the side, if
Yeah,
you
I guess
expand it,
that does make sense. But that means that when we click back, oh, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Selected is fine because I should be able to click one of these to select it, but it doesn't really matter where we're currently selected. Okay. Okay, so let's take a
no,
look
but
at this.
selected has it's an object, and it always has the date of today, and then the current, right? So what you
Yeah.
need to look at is current. Current is the one where you're supposed to be on in the calendar, whereas your selected today is always today. That one never changes.
Ah, yes. Okay, so let me refresh this guy. Okay, so we did call refresh twice. And selected is today and current is today. So if we then click back,
But you see how many times it re-renders? It's weird.
okay, yeah, selected. So today and then current is November.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's correct.
But yeah, refreshed 1, 2, 3 times in that change.
Yeah, we need to figure
1,
out why.
2, 3 times. Okay, so this dot refresh. So we would be calling when we trigger this thing. Where's the code for this? For this button? Do you remember? We're currently in month view.
Well, there should be a switcher. like for switching dates.
Yeah, I just don't remember where it is. Is that in
It's
actions?
actually
View switcher? No, date switcher. Okay, use Datekit, set current. Okay. Okay, I see. So set current, add days, add weeks, add months, add years. Okay. All right, so we're calling set current inside of use Datekit. And use Datekit comes from Datekit context, which I think is just calendar, right? Yeah, it's just the calendar. Okay. All right, so we must have a set current. Return this dot, let's get current. Where's set current? Set current. All right. This dot refresh calendar, which calls this dot set period. And then it calls this dot refresh, and then it calls this await this dot refresh sources. So refresh, okay, and then refresh sources. Where's that guy? What is that again? Command Shift O. Refresh sources. Okay, so this is a debounce. Await promise all. Okay, yeah, so this is the one that just fetches the sources. Okay, that makes sense. So then every time we set the current, we set the current to the date and we refresh the calendar, which just sets the period, sets the refresh, and awaits the sources. Okay. But then how do we call get sources after? So like if I were to say console.log calendar refreshed, for example, and just kill this and reload, we don't see it here. We should see it in the server, right?
that's pretty strange, yeah.
No events, which actually makes sense. I don't think we have any events for this month. So if I go back to
Well,
November,
October we know we have one.
and then it'll go back to October. So now we should have seen. It didn't actually call. Oh, here we go. Oh, that was too late though. So fetching API
Wait,
event.
no, the start date is October 1st, and then the end date is November 1st. That makes no sense. The end date should be the last day of October.
Yeah, it should. That's a different bug, but we can't even get the events, even though it does show them for a blip, right? Oh wait, they don't. They don't show up at all. Okay. All right, let's sandbox this. Let's just work in this package and simply pass its sources. So we have the playground running, and to confirm that, let's just open Postman. I don't know what screen this is going to open in. Let's see.
I mean, the core package is supposed to only be TypeScript, so we could potentially unit test the shit out of it. And we could fake source calls.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do that then. Do you have a testing? Oh my goodness. Okay, so
I don't think there is.
apparently my Postman needs some work. Let me just close that.
Yeah, I don't think there is. So if you can set up like whatever you want. I know you've been working with VTest recently.
I have actually. It's not bad. Did you want to add that to this?
We could. I mean, this way we can like test the core to make sure that it's actually working properly. And then if we
Sure.
see too many renders, then we know it's in React because the core is working properly.
Yeah, let's do it. So it'd be pnpm add. I think it's just vtest. Oh no, we need something else too. Uh,
Even just for raw TypeScript?
I think you just need vtest and one other package. I think. Let's see.
Because they say out of the box TypeScript.
Yeah, but you're not using Vite, so I think you need to install it. This one for TypeScript, unless you want to just rely on the fact that Vitist will technically install this.
Sure.
Yeah, you don't care? Okay.
No.
Okay. So in this case, we'll just do vtest then. Okay, so pnpm add vtest dash filter core. Oh shoot. We want to do -d. Hopefully that works. All right. Let's see. Perfect. Yeah, it added it. Okay, so then we'll do a new file. We'll call it vtest.config. I believe it has to be JS. Wait, it can be TS. Yeah, the one thing I found about vtest is if you want to do a setup file, that setup file cannot be TypeScript.
Mm-hmm.
I found that out the hard way. So
Interesting.
it looks like it doesn't install it.
It should be there. Maybe you do a reload window. Can you try a reload window with cursor?
Good call. Nope.
No.
No,
So
it didn't. It should be up here though.
but it finds the module. It just says it cannot find the defined config.
Has no exported member defined config. Let's. No, that can't be right. That can't be
Weird.
right. It's
Weird.
yeah.
Yeah. Import defined config from vtest config. See?
If you're not using Vite, you can configure vtest using. Okay. Yeah, let's try it.
Hmm.
We can't do it. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe it just doesn't like that.
No, can you check the package JSON real quick?
Oh wait, your TSUP has CJS.
Yeah.
VTest might not work with it.
Yeah, maybe we can get rid of CJS actually.
What are the main events of VTest?
We could just do like
Supports the same extension. Oh, we could do that. Hold on. We
ESM
could
or
just
MTS.
yeah. Let's see. There you go. There you go. All right. I don't think we need anything special. Do you care about globals? I prefer importing, but if you
Sure. Do whatever you prefer.
all right, we're just gonna leave it empty then for now. Okay, so we will do a new file. How do you want to do yours, by the way? I like them inline, but I understand if you don't.
I like inline. I usually do .test.ts, but spec is okay.
Oh, how dare you! Oh, terrible, terrible.
I don't know. Spec is weird. The spec is not a test.
No, it's a spec.
It's called unit testing, not unit specifying. So there you
All
go.
right, all right. I just prefer spec. That's just my preference.
Nah, it reminds me of the old like PHP days when we had like, what was the name of this tool?
Oh, what
There
did I
was
do
some
to
kind of tool where you could do
what
like cucumber stuff.
what type of programmers would we be
It was weird.
if we don't ask Copilot or Cursor to write these? Write the tests using vtest. Make sure to import the describe. Make sure to use proper imports. Proper imports and mock where necessary. All right. Does it actually have to mock these? Hmm. All right. Let's see how good it did.
Feeling adventurous.
I mean, all it does is give me the blocks, then I can fix it. All right, so it looks like we're creating a calendar variable. Before each, we're creating a new calendar and then clearing all mocks. Okay.
Which is funny because the first test below, like the second test below, just creates a new calendar as well. Oh, it's because it has to specify the week. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, should initialize with default values. Expect calendar.get view, get state. Okay. Custom view. Okay. All right. I'm not a huge fan of multiple describe blocks, but that's okay, I guess. Okay, describe event management. Should add events. So calendar.add event. So it didn't add the type here. I guess it's just probably, yeah, there we go. Import from events, sure. Oh, is it from events? No. Oh, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, okay. Is it just complaining because I didn't do type? Okay, what do we
Yeah.
use?
Can you do as unknown as Datekit event?
Yeah, sure. It's not really a fix, but didn't need the second as.
There you go.
I
It
think the
works.
complaint, yeah, but I think the complaint was that it doesn't actually do them all. Unknown proper, convert the expression to unknown first. Property name is missing. Yeah, it doesn't have a name, but it's required.
I'll just put a name. Yeah,
So
there
there,
you go.
right? And then it's fine. Is title actually a thing?
No,
You have name and title? It's not.
it just hallucinated.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. I probably should add these spaces in, hey? Okay. I mean, may as well just see what happens. Let's run it. Oh, we don't have a script. You don't have a script for all the other ones, but
It's okay.
we want vtest run dash dash. Do you care about coverage? No. Let's just do vtest. I think it's just vtest.
No, I have a controversial opinions about coverage.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I don't think it's a valuable metric.
I see. I think it's valuable to know how much coverage you have. I just don't think you actually need 100%. That's that's where I think it gets tricky, right? Like,
I think it's useless because you could have 100% coverage if you called every single path in your app without actually testing anything.
Yes, 100%. I think what I'm trying to say though is if your goal is to just achieve 100%, yeah, you can totally do it, but then you kind of lock yourself into you make it harder to refactor your code. You make it harder to do changes because people don't if you make a really convoluted way. Like let's say you didn't do test driven development, so you don't have like the cleanest code to start with, your tests become very clunky. So then when somebody comes in to refactor them, they can't just refactor the code, they have to also refactor the test. And this is
Yeah.
where people go wrong, right? They're not actually testing the code, they're testing what they wrote. which is which is which is the difference, right? I think if you were able to write your test properly, so you're just testing input output, then it means I can come in there and I can actually refactor and make changes. I may not have 100% coverage because I'm not actually covering every single path my application takes, but I am covering that if I do this input, I expect this output. So when I refactor
Yeah,
it,
but
if I do this input, I still expect the same output,
yeah, I mean,
regardless of what gets called.
you could argue as well that, if you have an if else in there, you need to test the scenario where you go into the if and the scenario where you go into the else, right?
Oh
then
yes,
then you
yes.
have folks that are going to tell you like, yeah, but else is actually an anti-pattern, blah blah blah. And so, like, you get into the weeds too much, you know what I mean? And at the end
Yeah,
of the day, I'm from the side of the user, which is, hey, can I do the thing that want to do with the app? And that's the priority test that I write.
fair. So you do
Anything
a lot of
else I
more
don't really
end-to-end
care.
testing then, like integration, sort of?
Yes and no. They're still not really integration because I'm testing like each part separately. But I'm looking at it from a user. Like, hey, if I didn't write this code, like this library or whatever, and I called this function, would the primary functionality of this function work? And any potential edge case work, right?
Right. Do I have to add
But
the test
then
script here?
if, if
Do I have
it
to do
doesn't
this?
test everything, that's fine. You don't have to. If you do this, you're gonna have to add it to Turbo as well. However, it could be helpful because if we have multiple tests on multiple packages, we could run them all with a Turbo command. So could always
That's
do
what
that.
we want, right? We are going to have multiple, so we have to do this, and then we have to go to
Yeah.
turbo.
Well,
Oh, we
there's
already have a
already one.
test.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So then now I can run test. Okay, sweet.
Yep. You can.
All right. Look at this.
Beautiful.
All those tests. Okay. All right. So
So
then
what are
in
we
our
testing?
case,
It should add advanced, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
oh yeah. Well, in our case, actually, I want to isolate. So I'm going to call this calendar debug dot test dot ts. All right, so let's describe calendar, and let's say it should call sources, right? So let's do this piece. We definitely don't want that. All right, so when we create a calendar, we have to give it a few things, right? In our case, we want sources,
Yeah.
and we would like it to call. It's definitely not get events. Lots of hallucinating going on.
I don't know.
I don't remember what we created it as though.
Maybe we
We
need to
did
specify
a
the cursor rules a little bit more.
event loader. Okay, so we have an event loader that has an on success.
Well, that's the shape of the function that it
Yeah,
should be.
yeah. I want to see the code we wrote. Where is that? Is it in calendar
It's in the calendar,
or
yes,
is it
but
in
in the
playground? It's in playground though, right? Playground source page.
what
I
are you
think it's
looking
right
at?
here. Yeah, this is
Oh,
it.
this, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this could be any function. You can even mock the function if you want. Like, what we care about is whether it's called or not, right?
Yes. Yeah, I just want the signature. So we have to pass it a function. Yeah, I just want this. We're just gonna make it fake. Oh, I was in the same file. Duh.
Well, we do have the signature. It's a event function or whatever.
It's
Or
called
event source.
events, though, right? and then
Yes,
it's a
but
function.
the
It's like
type
this.
we have it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this. How do you do multiple events? Oh, each source, right? Each source would be its own thing. Okay,
Yes.
so in this case, what we're gonna do, let's import all those. Perfect. We're gonna do const uh, mock events equals v dot function, and we want it to return us data. Sure. But I'm gonna grab just gonna grab this little fake event here. And we don't need this.
I feel like your function is not defined properly here. You're missing an equal somewhere.
It's actually just because I didn't do v, and I definitely need to expect v
No,
dot.
no,
Oh, I don't need
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Equal
There
equal.
you go.
There we go. All right. So it's actually mock events. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So this can actually just become this.
You're still missing the name property.
Oh, it's there. I think it's because I'm missing
No, I
this
mean your source.
section.
Your source needs a name.
Oh, my source needs a name. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now if we were to do calendar dot set current, and do we have day.js in this? I can never remember which one you're using. We have
No, I think it's day-definite.
day.definite. Yes. Okay. So we have what's it? Add. I can't remember. Import add days. Yeah, sure. Okay. All right. So starts. This event starts on this one and ends on the next date. Okay. And we want to set the current to 1 day. Sure. All right. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Expected spy arguments. So expect mock events to have been called, but it's not to be called with start date and end date, right? That's not right.
Yeah, it should be called with start date and end date. But
Oh,
as
start
info
date.
though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be wrapped into like an object.
Okay. Oh, I'm going to close the others just so we have those two open. Okay, so we expect this to be called. Where did that go? Oh, it is an object. It did wrap it in an object.
Cool.
But it's actually saying it didn't get called with that.
Yeah, maybe you need to spy on that function.
It is a spy.
It's a mock. Are you spying on it?
Yeah. Well, here, if you want to know for sure, you can just say expect it to have been called. And save, and it's not rerunning. Oh, expected spy to be called once. You are correct. No, it should be this. This should be a spy. That's the whole point. Set current definitely does do that, right? Yeah, refresh calendar. Okay, await. So if we call set current, we pass it a date. This dot state dot selected. Okay. Well, that's weird. Can I side by side these? Oh, I can just go in here, do npm or pnpm run test. All right. This will be a little better. Then we can actually see
Mhm.
it real time. Okay. So then we should be able to say expect calendar dot get state dot current. Oh wait. Oh dot selected dot current, and it should equal this. So we're actually going to have to go up here and say const current equals this. And we'll set this to current, and let's expect this to equal current. Right? So did I at least get that one? Okay, so that one did work. So this is in fact working, but mock events.
I have a feeling you need to set up an explicit spy on it, though.
No, a mock function is a spy. If you want to know for sure, we can actually get rid. We can just get rid of the whole signature inside and save this. But I don't think it's being called. And actually, what we can do, can we just call it? Like, for example, if I just do like mock events like this, there you go. See?
Hmm.
So I
So it is
can
getting
call it,
called.
and it is called. So
So
it's
the
not
set
being
current
called.
isn't. Yeah, it's not calling it for the set current.
But I think it's related to the fact that it's
But it
a
should be asynchronous,
promise.
though. Yeah.
Set async set current. Okay, yeah. So I have to. Oh yeah, we awaited it. So we did await it, but it still doesn't get called. So if we go into calendar, into here, it's a debounce. Yeah, that's fine. So let's just console.log refreshing sources, this dot state, console.log refreshing sources, this dot state. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so
So it's been called.
no, it still hasn't been called. Oh wait,
Hmm.
expected. Oh, that's a different test actually. Oh, I should disable this. How do I disable this? Let me just comment it all out. Just put a describe calendar. There. There we go. Okay. Then we don't have to worry about those ones for now. Okay, so we have refresh state. Current is the. Wait, why is current the. Oh, it's the third. Okay, yeah, that's correct. It's one day ahead. Okay. By the way, what is day colon events? Are we updating that?
Yeah. So basically, every time you change the date, the current date, I recalculate a day object, which is the one you're looking at, a
Okay.
week, where I can get all of the days in the week where that current date is. Same
Okay.
thing for the month, where I can get all the days for the current month, and then for the year as well.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So all of that is kind of maintained every time you change the date. This way we can display the interface properly.
Right. Okay, so we're getting refresh state once. See this? Refresh
Yes.
state, and then we don't get it again, which means if we look at the code, we get this one, but we do not get this one.
So the state is empty.
But it can't be because I'm console logging the state, and the state's right here.
Well, that would be the only reason why you wouldn't get the second one.
Actually, hold on. That says refresh state. It does not say refreshing sources.
Yeah,
So
refresh
we're
state
actually
is
not
in
even hitting that. What's
it's
refresh
this
do?
the set state or something
Stuff
like refresh.
swipe.
Yeah, there you go.
So we're getting this one.
Yeah,
We're
which
not
is called in
actually.
it's called in set current. So
Yeah, but we're not even making it to. We're not even making it to this right here. We're not making it. We're getting this one. We're getting this one. We're not making it to this call. So, like for example, if I console log console.log refreshing sources, and then
you don't see calendar
console.log
refreshed.
sources refreshed, right? So, oh, refreshing sources, sources refreshed. Okay.
Maybe it's our refresh sources that's not like properly calling methods because of the
This
debounce.
So the fact that we have that means it did work.
Yeah, but it's probably the
Wait,
debounce
the
getting in the way.
debounce returns a promise, but it isn't a promise. No, that should be fine. That means this is a function that returns a promise. Yeah. Okay. And how it's after 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's probably a little bit nuts as well. But either way, like I think
Well, hold on though. After 5 seconds makes a difference. So let's uh
I think the
let's
debounce is
wait.
what's getting in the way.
Let's wait. So let's do this and let's do like wait. Do they have a wait? Let's see. Oh, no, there's no wait, is there?
Or you could do a set timeout.
Yeah, I guess they don't have a wait function in vtest. What? There's no way. There's no way.
Just do a set timeout.
I want.
Oh,
Here we go. Wait until wait for.
oh.
So we could do this one. Wait for. Okay. All right. So we can do here v dot wait for. Wait, how did that work? V dot wait for. Oh, it has to be a function. What? Do I have to make it async? Okay. And then I assume I have to put this in there
I
then,
guess.
since I'm waiting. Look at that.
So
Wait,
now
how's that
it's passing.
possible? Yeah, but how's that possible? It it should have waited at least 5 seconds, no?
It should have, but you didn't put any timeout, so you're not waiting very long here actually, because
We're
your wait
wait.
for doesn't have any timeout.
Well, you don't have a timeout. Oh, you do have a timeout. Options. Let's do timeout 5,000.
Yeah, it's still the
It
same.
still passes in seconds. What the hell?
So does that mean we just needed to wait for the thing? That's pretty weird. It's a weird syntax. What if
Yeah.
you put an await before your expect? Like without using a wait, like the wait for, just put an await in front of your expect.
Okay, sure. Let's see. So here, I don't think you can do that. Yeah, has no effect.
Weird.
Although you can do apparently this. There you go. I'm not sure what that really did. Oh,
Not
interesting.
much.
Well, hold on though. Let's go into calendar and not make it 5 seconds because that seems crazy. It may be like 200. There you go.
Yeah.
Look at
I
that.
mean, one thing that we should
So if
do
we do
is to
5,000, look at that. 5,000 fails, but 200 passes.
hmm,
So the wait for must have some sort of default time it waits, but it's not going to wait forever.
well, yeah, there's a default timeout, I guess.
Yeah.
That's why if you increase the timeout, it should still work.
Yeah, if we added more timeout. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
if we did if
So
we
if
went
you have
back to the
5 second
5,000 and we went
and you
into our
put a
debug,
timeout of like I don't know, something nuts.
5,000.
No, put bigger.
Oh, it actually failed. Interesting. So let's do 10,000. Oh.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. If this is a run, test timed out in 5,000 milliseconds. It actually timed out.
So it times out in your debounce. That's weird. So like I said, I think it's the debounce that's causing issues, man.
Interesting. Okay. Well, if that's the case, let's get rid
Can
of it.
we remove it for now? Yeah, let's just remove it for now, and then we'll fix that later if we really need to.
How did we do this again? Oh yeah, right. We want this to be async here,
Yeah,
and this is no longer like this.
you could still keep it private if you want.
Ah, yes. Okay, so we don't need this anymore. Yeah, there you go. So the thing is we could just make this a debounce by setting a timeout on it. Every time it's
We,
called, we could just reset the timeout. No?
yeah, you just need to store whatever the result of set timeout is, so you can like actually call it to clear it.
Yeah, so we'd have to. Oh, you'd have to return a function that could then be called.
No, but if you store like if you do set timeout and you store that into a variable, that variable could be on the class potentially.
Oh, that's a good point.
And
Okay.
then at the beginning, you just clear it. So this way, then if you call refresh sources many times, it's always going to
Yeah.
clear it and reset a new timeout.
So we could say
But
like
then,
if this dot timeout ID or something like that.
sure.
Clear
But
timeout.
then it's only going to run at the tail end of that timeout. So that's why we shouldn't have a timeout that's too big. Because
No,
otherwise,
we
like,
should do a couple. We should do a couple
even if you
milliseconds or
call
something.
it like 5 times, it's going to call it 5 times really quick. But then the last timeout is still 5 seconds. So then after those 5 calls, it's going to wait 5 seconds until actually running the thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah. We don't want it to be 5. I'm thinking 200 milliseconds.
200, yeah, it's decent.
Right.
I mean, I guess
And actually, we could do this as like this dot timeout so that we can change it.
yeah.
Okay. And then I think we just move all this in, right? Literally just take all of this code and just plop it in
Actually, I
here.
would call it this.debounce something. This way, we can expose that into the config of our package and
This
pass a
dot
prop to decide the
this
debounce.
dot debounce time?
Mm-hmm.
Debounce time? Like this?
Sure,
Okay. And we're fine with timeout ID.
that's okay. I would still call it debounce so we know it's related to the debounce, so like debounce ID or whatever. This way, we know it's related to that.
Okay. Okay, so that at the top here we'll do private debounce ID. Okay, and
Make
private
it set.
debounce time.
Yeah, so just put 200 as a default if you want, and
Yeah,
then people could
definitely.
override this.
Okay, so what's the deal here? We probably don't have types for node installed, hey? We do not. You fine adding them?
Yep, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, pnpm add at types / node. Oh, damn it. I keep forgetting the -d. right. Okay, so did that, is it still complaining now? Do I have to import it? Oops.
I'm gonna go grab a drink. I'll
Yeah.
be right back.
Import type Node.js. Oh, come on. What's its type? Set timeout. Oh, it's not this dot set timeout. Oops, there we go. It should be global this dot node.js dot timeout. Global this. It's complaining about my import. It just says node.js is not defined. I wonder if I can just do timeout.
You could also do this kind of return type if you want. I'll send that to you on Discord. I mean, you could just use the first part. Don't have to set a default.
All right, perfect. Okay. All right. Okay, let's see. All right, passes. Now, if we go into this debug test and we tell it to timeout after 100 milliseconds, it should fail. Aha, perfect. 200, it fails. But 300, it passes. Okay, so it actually makes sense though, because we would call this first. Actually, wait, no, that doesn't make sense. We would call this first. So how come this timeout
Well,
times out
because
before it?
set current is calling refresh sources, but refresh sources only runs after 200 milliseconds. So you got to wait a little bit longer.
Right. So
It's not
in
running immediately.
theory, if we were to call this 3 times and
That's what
set
I like about the debounce from
and
Lodash, because you can actually
set this
prefix it.
to 201, it should fail. Yeah, okay. But then if I were to get rid of these two, oh, it still fails. It still passes. Okay, 205. Okay, 205. So now if I were to call this a bunch of times, okay, it doesn't matter because we just reset it. But if I called it right before, okay,
It doesn't
interesting.
matter because you're calling it 3 times very quickly,
Yeah.
and it's going to wait 200 milliseconds and then run it. So
Yeah,
you're good.
so I guess the question though is how can we make sure that it's actually debouncing now? So we would want to make sure that it has been called once. Perfect. Okay, so we called it 3 times, but this was only called once.
Yeah. But yeah, it would be nice if we could call it like right away, because Lodash has this option on their debounce. You can actually specify whether it's a trailing debounce or not.
But why would you want to call it right away? 'Cause that would mean that if they changed the view, we instantly call it, and then if they change it again, we debounce it. But we already called it. Right? We want to catch it in the playground here. We want to catch it 200 milliseconds after they click this button, just in case they stop, or if they don't stop, we want to debounce it, right? Whereas if we called on the very first click and then debounced it afterwards, we're loading the first click.
Yeah, but there's a thing. So in Lodash, you have leading and trailing options, right? If you
Yeah.
set both to true and you happen to call that function many times, it's going to run it. If you call your function once, it's going to run it right away, right? But
Okay.
if you run it many times, it's going to run it at the end of the set timeout, right? So it only uses the timeout when you actually call the function multiple times. But if you don't, then it's going to run it right away.
Interesting. How do they do that?
That is a very good question. I've never looked at their code, so I don't know. But that's how they
How?
do
Yeah. How would you? What? I don't understand. Like,
it.
in order for them to do that, that would mean that they have a cancel. They essentially have an internal cancelable function that if you
Yes,
call it
you can
again, it
actually
immediately
call.
cancels that function and then does your timeout to call it.
Yes. So the debounce of Lodash, you can store it into a variable, and if you call that variable as a function, it cancels it.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So they're just doing two things in one. They're creating a
Yes.
cancelable function and debouncing it.
Yes.
But you can
Also, if
also
you
you can also cancel it yourself, is what you're saying. You don't
yes.
have to. I think
Also,
that's a
if you use
little
a set
overkill for
timeout,
us. Might be just a little overkill for us, but
yeah, but you could put the timeout to 0, and that should use the next tick,
yes. Yeah.
which should still be fast enough, I guess.
Do you want to test it? I mean, we got the means, so you want to
Yeah,
set this to 0?
sure. Yeah, just a sec. I have an order coming in.
So 0. You are correct. It worked. Okay. So
Yeah, it works. So it's the next tick, yeah, which will be a little closer. But then we'll see when we interact with the interface if it's enough to use the next tick or not. Because we still don't want to call the API like crazy when people change. Like,
oh, what's the deal here?
I
Did
mean,
it
they
break
do have a
something?
way to expand the debounce timeout.
What happened here?
It's probably trying to include your Vite from your build, maybe? No? Oh, no, it's in the utils.
Yeah, it's in the utils package. You have a utils package?
Yes.
Utils. I did not add
What the hell?
anything in here. Yeah, I definitely didn't add anything. It's a CJS thing. Is there a reason that you did CJS and not just full ESM?
I just figured if people wanted to use the core for something else, maybe it would be nice to have it as common JS and the utils, you know. But I guess we don't have to. Like, I don't really care if we don't.
Okay.
It's fine.
This is just saying that it cannot find module tsub dist CLI default JS. I suspect it's probably
Can you run a pnpm install again?
sure. Oops, pnpm. Okay. Actually does look like it added something. Weird.
Yeah. While you do that, I'll go pick up my order. I'll be back.
All right. Let's see what happens.
back.
I'm so confused. If I collapse this, it says events array 1.
Okay.
But if I open it, there's no events. What?
Wait, what the heck? Huh? That makes no sense. Open it. Open it. Just out of curiosity. Yeah, no, there's really nothing in there. It's an array 0. What the
Yeah.
hell?
But if I look at this, if I click back, nothing. Click forward, something. Open, nothing.
Maybe it's because there's a thing. There's a thing that adds it, that adds an event. It console logs, but then when you go into your console and you actually expend it, at that point in time, this event is actually gone.
That's possible. Okay, so oh wait, we're doing a filter.
Can you do a console log, but with a JSON stringify?
Yeah. Also, before I do that though, I want to do. Where did that go? This dot state dot events equals this. Await promise all. And push else. Ah. You know what? I'm gonna do const events. And then we're just gonna do events dot push. And events dot push. We don't have to do a question mark because we know it exists. And then we can simply just say this dot events equals events. And this equals Datekit event. Okay. All right. This way we're explicitly setting those at the end. But I also want to say expect getState.events to have length 1. Okay. Ah! Look at that. So mock events was called, but it didn't actually get an event back. Whereas this function is definitely returning an event. So if we go into calendar, we have this.sources.map type equals function return this events.push dot events error. So sources events error on success events.push dot events. This is the thing that I asked you about is how are we getting this event? How does this get there?
Because your function that the person, like our user, is passing, they should call that callback, that success callback, with their array of events. Right? So their function is calling their API or whatever they need to do, and then they call success callback with that list of events. So are we doing that? That's the question.
So in our test, we have mock events,
Yeah.
which is just a function here that just returns what we want. So this
Yeah.
is
So
the
it
first
shouldn't it
part.
shouldn't return actually. It should use the success callback. So that function should have info, success callback, and error callback, and it should call that success callback with
Sorry,
those
it's
events.
success and error.
Mhm. And it should call success with this array. And it doesn't matter if you
So
return it or not.
return. Oh, it doesn't matter. Just call success.
Yeah. So you could return it if you want. It doesn't impact anything.
Okay, so still fails. So now if we go into calendar, let's just console.log events. Okay, so I saw it there for a second. Events fetched. Okay, so it is in fact getting them. Okay. Else events.push source.events. So let's just console.log events. Empty. So we're getting events fetched right here. We're pushing
Yeah, but you're pushing
events.
you're pushing to the wrong events here. You see? Change that to a different
Oh,
name.
we're pushing to theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this should be calendar. We'll call it date events. Ah, yes. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, still failed. So events right here, it is something. And then we're saying this dot state dot events equals date events, but we still don't get it back.
Is this the right thing? Can you console log this dot state? Oh, you already do. Yeah, my bad. Okay. Plus, yeah, no, it should be okay, actually.
Yeah, we are fetching it. It's at the top here. So yeah.
Yeah, it's an arrow
Refreshing
function, so
sources.
it should be good.
And yeah, refreshing sources. Okay. So let's just get rid of these so we know they work now. And after we set this, let's console.log this.state. But actually, let's console.log this.get state. Here it is. Events. Look at this.
Yeah, still empty. Is there anything else that we call after refresh sources by any chance?
No,
What
it's
is
the
our get
last
state?
call.
What is our get state? So we have this. Can you show a get state? It's below.
Uh,
Yeah. So we have this dot state, and then you
oh,
override
we
events
added
to
the
get
get
event,
events, which was
and
what
it's
was that
doing a
again?
filtering with the current state period, start date, and end date. So
Event.start
we
is
need to make
greater
sure the
than.
event in your test is in the period that we set for the calendar.
Oh, is this actually an accurate way of starting though? It's a date. Can you actually say date is greater than or equal to?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Okay, so in our test, oops, in
It's
this
the other one.
test. So I did start is add days 1, end is
Can you
add days
remove that add
2.
days for the start and just put new date?
Sure. Okay.
This way we're right in the middle.
And then
Oh
current.
yeah, but wait. Go back to this the get events thing, because your event start date here is bigger than the end. So it shouldn't be an end here. It shouldn't be an end because otherwise it's going to check whether or not the event starts between the period. So we have the period of the calendar, and we need to make sure that the event has either a start or an end in that period.
Start or an end in that period.
Yeah, whereas here you're checking if the event is exactly contained in that period. But if that event starts before or ends after, then it's not going to be filtered in.
Okay. All right. So you want to say if
Well,
event dot start event dot start is greater than or equal to this dot state dot period.
I believe datefns has a between, doesn't it?
Okay. Between is between. Yep.
So you could do either the start is in between.
Oh, it does not. My bad.
No, it does not.
It does not. What else? What does it have though? Is before.
All you have is before.
Is before. Is after. Is future. Is Monday. Is past. Is this hour.
Is within interval.
Yep. Interval start end.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. All right, so we want to do is within interval, our start, and then our event dot start. I think it's start date though, right? Actually,
You see this the signature.
Actually, it seems like it's start actually.
So yeah, it takes the date and then it takes an interval. So you have to create an interval.
Hold on here.
So it's the second param is an object that has start and end.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. It's something like that. So we need to check is if the start is like that and the end as well. Because if we have an event that ends in that period, we should still display it somehow. Right?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So we'll basically do if is within vertical or is within, and we do end.
Yes. But it's not an if. You could
return...
just return that because it's a filter. So you could just return that.
Just return what?
Just return
true.
Yeah, it's a filter. So just return the condition. Yeah. You don't need the if. Yeah.
Okay, so still failed.
Okay. Well, if you remove the filter, or if you just return like from get events, if you just return like. Do we have events in there? We do.
We have events in there.
Okay, so it's the filter that's off.
Definitely our filter. Okay, so let's now that we have this working though, let's see. October, which definitely has one. Wait, it says it doesn't anymore. Oh no, there it is. Events fetched. Day view. Start.get hours is not a function. Apparently we have a date utils.
Yeah, I think that comes from NAS PR. But I don't think we need to know it.
Source utils, date utils. There, this one.
Oh, so that means that's not a date. So the start that's being passed here is not a date. We might need to make sure that the events we receive.
Just have to look at our fake data. Well, no, this is exactly. This is our fake data. So let's go into Playground API mock data. So what do we have? Start. We're doing this.
Yeah, but are we converting them into dates before we return them?
Probably not.
Yeah, so we might want to make sure that they are converted.
We are not. So we have to do filtered events dot map event. There you
Yeah,
go.
something
Okay.
like that.
All
Even
right.
though that's something that our core should do,
Yes. Yeah.
because your
Well,
API
actually, no,
shouldn't.
because it's their API. Their API is doing something, right? Oh, I see what you're saying.
If they call an API where they don't really have control on that, or if they want to call an iCal subscription or whatever, that's going to be a string date. So we need to make sure we
Uh,
always try to attempt the conversion into a date.
it still didn't work.
But no, because you're doing date, but then it's calling to string before it returns your API response. So you do need to do it in the core.
Oh.
So our get events actually should do that.
So that's in sorry, in calendar. You're saying in here
Yeah,
you need to do a
that
dot
one should
map,
convert.
something
There
like
you go.
that. Okay. So then we go October, switch to day view, kill this, and go to the 6th.
Right?
Boom!
There you go.
I'm not sure why it only highlights when we hover it. But
Well, we can fix that later.
we
So
did
now
it!
we should be able to put a filter again, though.
Yes. Yes. Although it
See,
definitely seems like it's working without.
yeah, but if you put it back, now
Uh,
it will work because we convert it into a date. So now it's actually able to compare. Because before I was trying to compare a string with a date,
oh, yes. Okay, so we can do dot filter,
but we need to convert the start.
dot filter.
Oh, dude, just run one filter with both conditions.
Why? What's the harm?
Well, I don't want to run filter multiple times.
It still failed.
Yeah,
Uh,
because now you need to convert event start. Sorry, the
you
is our
would
period
prefer, so hold on.
actual?
You would prefer this
Yes,
over a nice clean double filter?
yes.
Oh, it's so ugly though.
Oh, you
All right.
can't read an or condition? Like, come on.
It's just so ugly.
I've seen way worse.
That's fair.
Worst case, like extract that condition into a function and call the function if you want.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so we
But like,
are getting a failure, but it's probably because we're not within the period. So if we go to our test, sorry, our debug test, we're setting start as new date. We're setting the end as 2 days from the new date.
yeah,
And we're
but
setting the current
what is
date
our
as
period?
1. So there you go.
Yeah, but
Uh,
what is the calendar's default view?
its default view is a month, I believe. There you go.
So
Look at that.
so it should still be in the period if the default is month.
That's a good question. Actually, how do we know what the? Oh, we're console logging it. Current view is
It's
day.
day, so that's why it wasn't working. Because our event was starting the day before and it was ending the day after.
Yep. Okay, so
Yeah, so our
uh,
condition is going to be a trouble because in the day view, we still want that event. Because if it starts yesterday and it ends tomorrow, then today should display that event as well.
yeah, you're right. So there's something flawed with our logic.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, it is getting late, right?
we're
But
going to need to figure that out.
yeah, yep, I totally agree.
Well, that's going to be our topic for next week.
Perfect. All right, but hey, we got an event showing on this calendar.
We
That's
do.
that's what we wanted to achieve today. So
Okay. Yeah. Well, are you free? Are you free next week? Yeah, we're
of
good next
course,
week to stream as well.
yep,
Okay.
we will be back
So
next
yeah, we
week.
fixed our bug. Um, we can load some events. That's good. Now we just need to figure out that logic for filtering because yeah, that is true. Even if the event start is prior and the event end is after, we still need to check if that event somehow overlaps.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense. And as we flip the views, we should be filtering and only showing what actually falls within that view, which that totally makes
Yeah.
sense as well.
We could do an interval comparison and try to compare the interval of the calendar
Yep.
versus the interval of the event. And if the interval of the event overlaps with that, then we show the event.
I think what we could probably do is, since it's a class itself, we could just add a method
Yeah,
right
yeah,
right inside that's like it's just like get events by view or something, and we can just then do a filter on get events by view, this dot get events by view or something, pass the
yeah.
current view into it, and then it just returns us the filter based on that logic.
That would make sense. Another thing that we all need to do, because initially when I wrote the beginning of the code, no matter what the view is, I'm always generating the days for the week, the days for the month, and so on and so forth. But
Yep.
if you're on the day view, well, on the day view, you do need it because there's like a mini calendar, but you don't need the year calculation, right?
Right.
So it would be nice to only
Yeah.
calculate when we need it, even though it doesn't cost much. Like it's not a super complicated function, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Also, what do you think about maybe doing a little bit of cleanup and having events as like a separate class that we add inside of calendar?
it depends. I'm not a big fan of plural classes.
Well, we could still just call it event.
An event might make sense because an event might have functions on it, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and then basically we can have a function. Yeah, actually this could be good.
But a collection of events might have functions as well. So we could potentially create an event collections class as well and
Yeah.
just have that. So that
Yeah.
class could potentially do the filtering for us. This way we
That's
keep
what
the
I was
filtering
thinking,
out
right?
of the
And then
calendar.
well, and it'll just remove a lot of code from calendar and then let calendar focus on the things that it should, which is managing the events. It doesn't need to do all of the stuff
I
around
agree.
events.
I agree. I like that. I like that.
Okay.
Keep it dry.
Yeah.
Yep, we could do
And
that
then
then
and then
next
we
week.
might even be able to do a view class for the day and month and stuff, because then based
Maybe.
based on like your calculations, actually this gets tricky. I was
No, no,
wondering
no.
about.
That works
Yeah, because I was
because
wondering
the
about what
view
you just
class,
said, right? Like a specific views should return specific things. So in
yes,
theory, we could have a class for our views that does that generation for us.
we could. And for the day view, that will be the one that will calculate two things: the current day and
Yep.
also the entire month, because we need to display that mini calendar. But that
Yeah.
mini calendar is a separate component. It's
Okay.
technically not part of the view. So that specific component can be locked in on the month view. So it always calculates this,
Yep.
but it does it on its own. It's
Yeah,
completely separate.
and that's like when you talk about the mini calendar, you're talking about the one that's off to the right that has like your current
Yes.
selected day, and I assume we'll probably have like dots or something for an event that's in that day.
That was my idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with the year view, because the year view, like, there's not much we can show, but we could show at least like little dots or whatever to show that, hey, you have some events there. I kind of like the Apple Calendar app, you know? Like if you open Apple Calendar and you go on the year view, you don't see events, but your dates are colored based on like how many events you have on it.
Oh, they get like darker or something if you have a ton?
It gets red if you have a ton. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
So I
All
think
right.
that's a good one.
Okay. All right. Well, we got lots to do next week then.
Yeah, indeed. Okay. Well, at least we fixed our bug. Goal
Um,
accomplished.
yes, yes. And I will be thinking on this splitting of these classes, and yeah, you know what? I might actually hack on this week, if
Fair
off
enough.
stream. But I might do some stuff. See where I
Well,
get.
you were working on a little bit of object oriented, so here we go.
Yeah, and you know what? I am gonna push this. Do you want this
Even
in a
though JavaScript is
branch?
not the base language to do it, but whatever. You know.
I am going to push this code though, since we do have some of it working now. Do you want to do it on a separate branch? Let's do
Sure,
git
we could do a separate
checkout.
branch.
What are we thinking here? What was this? event handling, sources, source handling, event sources, event sources. All right. So I just pushed that branch. Oh, username for me. What? What?
Wait. Don't cancel that. Can you do a git remote show origin?
Origin. Get remote show origin.
Yeah, you set up your origin as HTTPS. You might want to set up as a SSH.
Oh, yeah, I definitely did not want to do that. All right. Maybe we'll do this one off stream. I'll do this one.
It takes 2 seconds.
Okay. Actually, I've never done it. Swap from. How do I swap my
So just
remote?
click on code and grab the SSH version. Yeah, there you go. Then you go in your terminal. You could do git remote rm origin.
Get remote rm origin.
Yeah, and then git remote add origin, and then you put the URL. Boop. There you go.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Oops.
And the show origin should now show like a SSH thing.
Yeah. Let's see. Ah, that's better. Perfect.
So now your G's piece up thing should work.
Get push set upstream. G piece up.
Yeah, you could set that in your global git config, and you could just do a git push, right?
Oh, I could just do GGP. Git push.
Yeah, but what I mean is you don't have to do a set upstream. You can set the in your global config that you always want to set the current branch as an upstream. So when you create a new branch, you just have to do git push, and it will set it as upstream by default.
Oh. I mean, is it really that hard to type 5 letters?
No, but it's pretty nice.
All right.
It's pretty nice.
Probably not going to show my global config over a stream, but
Okay. Let me find the thing for you though.
which
I
thing?
don't remember what the actual thing is.
Oh, sure.
I don't remember how to list all of the things. List. Oh, -L. Well, I did -L. What the fuck? Git config -L. Oh, there you go. So what is the one? Git's auto setup remote. There you go. That's the one you want.
Auto setup
push
remote.
dot auto setup remote equal true. If you put that in your git global config, then every time you create a new branch and you do git push, it's going to create a branch that has the same name as your local branch.
Yeah. How do you do the git global? That's just, oh, I guess I don't have to show it. It's just git
Config
config global.
And then you put the thing, whatever it is.
Push dot auto setup remote.
Maybe there's a set or something. I don't know.
I'll figure it out. I'm just wondering, if you always set upstream, what's the purpose of them not auto pushing to remote? When would you not want to push origin upstream?
If you want your remote branch to have a different name than your local branch, in that case, you want to set the upstream manually. So
wait, if you want, hold on. So I can have a branch in GitHub called my branch. but I can
Yes.
have a local branch called my cool branch
Sure.
and push it to my branch.
Sure. Yes.
Why would you ever do it?
I
What would
don't
be the
know.
purpose?
I don't know. And maybe in the case where you have one repo, well, you have one
If
project, but it's
somebody
connected to
watches this
two
video
remotes.
and knows this answer, post it.
No, but if it's connected to two different remotes, like maybe you have your project and maybe you have a like a fork or something, and the fork branch is a different name.
Okay.
It's possible, I guess. I don't know.
I thought when you do forks, though, you create a pull request from your branch to theirs.
You do, but you can't. When you keep up to date your project, you got to set the fork as a remote and you pull from it,
Oh, yes. Okay. Okay. And then in
right?
that case, though, I guess you just explicitly say, like, pull from origin, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, you would say
Okay.
git pull instead of git pull origin master or main. You would say like git pull my fork main, like whatever the name of your remote is.
Yeah.
Like your repo could have multiple remotes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could even host your repo on GitHub and GitLab and have two different repos for the same project and just push
Hmm.
on both.
Okay. I see.
It's useful sometimes. I've seen use cases where it's helpful, especially when you do migrations. Like with at work, I had to do a migration, merge multiple projects into one repo. And so
Yep.
what I did is I created this new repo, and then I added the other repos as origins, as remotes, right? And I could pull from them. So as I was doing the consolidation, if those repos changed, I could still pull the changes from those because I had those
Okay.
remotes.
Yeah.
Right?
Interesting.
So
You just had to
it
name those
happens
remotes
sometimes.
something different, right? You'd have to name it like whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead
They
of
have to be
origin.
named differently.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah. You could also do submodules, but that is kind of annoying sometimes.
Fair.
But yeah, there's plenty of things you can do with Git. Git is magical.
Yep. Awesome. Well, this was great. We
All
will
right.
be back at it next Monday.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Well, have a good night.
Have a good night.
See you later.